Hey, good day, folks. It's Lance Klessig. I'm here today with Tom and Jacob Cannon, who run Goodson Ranch out of Oklahoma. We're just coming off the heels of wrapping up an awesome conference. We're at the South Dakota Soil Health Coalition annual meeting and conference. It's been awesome, inspiring. It's been a challenging time. But Tom, tell us a little bit about your ranch, some of the cattle you run, that type of thing.
We're from north central Oklahoma, fairly diversified ranch, cow, calf, and stalker. But we also do quite a bit of row crops. We have cotton, soybeans, wheat, corn, and then a number of different species in our cover crop blends that we graze.
Awesome. Jacob, you're really big into wildlife. That's kind of some of your passion. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my deer, they absolutely never go hungry. They have food year round. They like my best crop that I like to plant for them. I have a few, but clover, plantain, chicory, those are some of the real good ones that I enjoy.
Sure, awesome. Providing the food, but also the habitat. They got nowhere to go, and you get to have fun observing them, but also harvesting them. You know, awesome.
And Jacob's wanting to take that into a income stream for us in the future, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome, good work. One thing, Tom, you shared when you presented today, and I really appreciated, was how you wove your faith story, but also how that kind of intersects with regenerative agriculture and what you've been doing on your place. So one thing you kind of hit over and over was the power of diversity and having a live root. Can you tell us a little bit more about why that's important?
It's incredibly important. I think it's important not just for our ranch, but for any cropland.
Sure.
The more live roots you can have, then you're building soil biology and you're building carbon in your soil. I think we all know now, or many people know, that the more carbon you have in your soil, the more likely it is to hold moisture, the more resilient it is.
Sure.
When it's really wet, you have better infiltration rates. Whenever it's really dry, you have better drought resistance.
Sure.
So those two things, and then that's really the way our soil was created, right?
Amen.
Our native grasses always have a live root in them. 24/7, 365, always have a live root in them.
Yep.
And they're incredibly resilient.
Right.
We don't have to spray them for weeds. We don't have to do a lot of things. They just keep producing. Well, the soils that we have at the farm were considered the better soils.
Sure.
So those were broke out.
Right.
Back during the land run, back in the late 1800s, my great grandparents broke that land out and turned it into farmland.
Right.
Because it was the better soil. Well, what happened a couple of years ago, or 20 years ago, I guess now, we had a lot of ground over at the ranch that had been heavily fed in. We fed it a lot, and it was dark looking, and it looked like it was nothing there. Then I go home, and we have fields blowing. They also looked fairly dead. But I knew from experience that native grass, because of the living root, was going to grow up, and it was going to be 8-10 foot tall blue stems in the summer.
Beautiful.
But I knew that my farmland was not. It was absolutely dead of soil life.
Sure. And then you probably started adding cover crops.
Adding cover crops, that's when we really started our journey into soil health. Absolutely.
Awesome. One thing that Tom, one quote that really stood out to me was, "What if success depends on your intimacy with the living soil?" That really hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just wonder if you could elaborate a little bit about what you mean by that. What if success depends on your intimacy with the living soil?
Well, it does. It absolutely does. If we're going to be sustainable, and if we are going to continue to have productive soils worldwide, there's going to have to be a certain level of intimacy and respect that we have for that area that's below the soil surface. That living system that's below the soil system, below the surface. And what's it do for us? You know, it feeds our kids, it puts my kids through school, and when we care for it, it cares for us. The healthier it is, the healthier my plants are. The healthier our water is. That goes into our cities and streams. It's just the whole, it wraps everything up in what I feel is a passionate intimacy that we have to have with our soil.
Right, which I think all three of us would agree that comes from our Creator. And I mean,
absolutely.
We're not going to exclude the faith part of this, because we all feel that that's central, that's core to all this. So one last question, guys. Maybe I'll start again with you, Tom. What's one piece of advice that you might offer somebody that's maybe just getting into regenerative farming or using the soil health principles? What's one piece of advice or encouragement or challenge that you might offer somebody?
I was desperate when I came back to the farm. Desperate for something new and different, because what we were doing wasn't working.
Sure.
So what I did, I started networking with other producers that had already gone down this road and started down this road of regenerative ag.
Yep.
And so networking, there's nothing more important than go to conferences like this, like the South Dakota Soil Health Coalition. Amazing conference here.
Right.
There's other ones. There's wherever you are in the United States, there's a conference close to you that has to do with soil health.
You bet.
Go network with these people and ask questions and be bold in your questions.
Sure.
Because you go to that area that's close to you, there'll be people that will mentor you.
Amen. Yeah, I've seen it all the time.
I've seen it everywhere.
That's a
I've
great
seen
point.
it everywhere.
Yep, I would agree with that. All right, Jacob, what's one piece of advice you might offer someone that's wanting to get into soil health?
Well, I would definitely go with limited disturbance. That's for sure.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of like when it's cold outside, peeing down your leg. It'll feel good for a second, but you'll eventually get colder.
that's very true.
Tillage is like peeing down your leg.
Yeah.
Well done, son.
Yeah, that's great. Guys, here's another thing. We have fun at these conferences. We're learning from each other, we're networking, but we get to laugh and we're enjoying life, and it's a beautiful community. And so, guys, Jacob, I just want to say thanks. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Tom, it's been awesome. Really appreciate it. And folks, I just encourage you, if you like our videos, give us a like. I mean, we're all in this together, and really appreciate it. And I just want to end by saying, choose to make it a great day, all.